Welcome to the first, if not only, all I'm saying is live. This is a Q&A. It's a celebratory video. Because I did say at one point that when we get to 10k, I'll do a Q&A video. But it's not necessarily about Q&As. We're going to do a bit of storytelling as well. We're just going to chill out and have a good laugh. But I figured that it'd be easiest if I did an introduction video. So before we get on to me being actually live, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, the channel, and how it's got to where it is now. You see, it were only 10 months ago, on the 16th of May 2022, that I started All I'm Saying Is. That's when the channel was first created, and the day after I uploaded the first video, which was about Alan and Clara in Castleton, my favourite place. When I started the channel, it weren't supposed to be what it is. My goal for the channel was merely to have 1,000 subscribers within a year. I thought that's a realistic goal to aim for, and that's what I'm aiming for. However, a couple months down the line, I got to 1,000. As I said, it's now been 10 months. I think it was 9 months, and we got to 11,000, 10,000. And I really do suffer with self-doubt and imposter syndrome, so it really does mean a lot to me. And the support you guys give me, and the support that you give the channel and each other is just amazing. I look at the comments all the time and I just fall in love with you all more and more every single time I interact with you. You're all amazing and so compassionate. Many people want to know how, why and when I started the channel. And the truth is, I used to do a channel before this. It was called Vape Mill or Let's Nerd It. And I used to review electronic, then things that give you nicotine. I don't want to say it because it's heavily restricted on YouTube. I did that for 3 years. I used to do freelance writing for EasyClick, a massive company, and I used to do video reviews. And again, that community was great and I loved it, but I started to fall out with that industry because everything kind of plateaued. It got a bit boring, so I quit doing it. Then I went to an expo and fell back in love with it. And then I started to receive things to review again. And again, I just realized that, you know, I'm putting so much time into this. Like pretty much all my time was going into writing reviews, filming reviews, and I just like no, I'm not liking it as much as I used to, so I quit. But one thing you should know about me is I like to be busy. If I'm not learning something, if I'm not trying something new, I've got to be doing something. I'm not the type of person to just sit and watch TV or whatever. So I was thinking what to do, and I had a brief moment of wanting to do a how-to channel, like a video DIY channel. But the problem is with that is you have to constantly think of new things that haven't already been done. I don't want to be one of these channels that shows you how to do the exact same thing as the other guy. So I tried that on that channel for a little bit, and then I thought no. So we're back to not doing anything. And I'm getting really bored again, getting really apprehensive. What can I do with myself? And at this point, it's either start another company, which let's face it, I'm not all that good at, or start another channel. So I decided I wanted to start a story channel. It weren't a true crime channel, it was a story channel. And the entire point was to tell strange and mysterious stories and true crime stories. As time has gone on, the true crime stories get so many more views than the other stories. I mean, for example, some of the stranger and fiction videos are still on about 500 views, while my most common video is the Sarah and Brandon Mitchin video, Sarah Barris. And that's at 200,000 views now, I think. So, although I'm not just following the views, I am trying to do what I want to do as well. It is about the channel, and you guys appreciate true crime more, so I put more emphasis on that. The stranger and fiction will always be here because this is a story channel, not just a true crime channel. For anyone wondering, that channel, the old channel, is still up. It's called Let's Nerd It. But I think that's it. I think we've caught up. I think you know why I'm here. Hello. Sorry about that. Thank you, Schmooby. So yeah, as I was saying, but you couldn't hear, If I cut that bit of pre-video off, I'm very sorry. You're supposed to also have live chat up on screen right now. I don't know why we aren't, but I'll try and fix it as we go. So as I was saying, I was supposed to... now I've lost it. I don't know if I cut that short, and if I am, I'm very sorry. I'm very nervous. When I did the other channel, I used to be on a live show called Free Men the Vape Show. Fax has just mentioned it in chat. And while I was on that show, it was easy because Aidan ran it, and while he was running it, I just sat back and chipped in every now and again. That was easy. To actually run a show on your own, you have to be doing all the works and stuff. Luckily, we've got Schmoobait looking out for the comments. So you have to do all the button pressing and stuff, and then there's no one else to back you up. If there's a moment of silence or if you stumble on your words, there's no one else to come in. So I'm really nervous, so bear with me. Like I said, this is a Q&A, but it is also just a general video just to celebrate. Let's get together, let's get to know each other, let's chat and let's chill. I am drinking JD, so end of the hour it could turn out very differently. But we'll see how it gets on. I have also got a story for you. It's not a true crime. I didn't want to get all down serious. So it does involve death, I'm afraid. But it is a story that if someone ever says, well, you tell stories, it's the first story that always comes to my mind. So, I have got a question that wanted answering first. It was a question from a few weeks ago when I asked, and it was from Angie. And Angie said, do you ever consider hiding your identity when you're starting your channel? Many YouTubers do out of fear. And this really were a big sticking point for me. One of the first videos I covered was... so talk about this story as well. I have to be careful what I say, especially on a live. Oh, chat's just appeared on the video. So, yeah, as it were one of them... It were a case that were really hard to cover because it involved mutilation stuff. And I actually contacted her son. And the video's called Who Killed My Mom? And Daniel, if you haven't seen it, is still looking... It's not like 20 years ago, 23 years ago this happened, and he's still looking for who did it. Thank you, Sherry. And it turns out that once I posted this video, and people in the local area of Sheffield started sending it around, it turned out a lot of people know who this person is. And it's quite common knowledge. Only problem is I've got family that live in that area, literally round the corner from where the murder took place and where this apparent person lives. So then it did become quite a fear. Well, what if you step on someone's toes, they think you need to shut up? There were also a video I did on the channel which I took down because they asked me to, although I'm not obligated to everything I use in public knowledge. But I took it down because they asked me to, and then I reported it to police. And people laughed when I said that, but it was her sister that reported it to the police. And I was like, well, it's still a cold case. The police are still looking into it. They reopened it in 2021. So why wouldn't they want people talking about this case, getting the news out about this case? So I contacted the police and said, I've took the video down. I just thought it's a bit suspicious. I thought I'd let you know. Blah, blah, blah. There's lots of news articles that come out about that story as well. So back to the main question. It did cross my mind quite a lot, especially when I first started, that I should hide my identity. Not so much for me. If I got kicked in tomorrow or something, I wouldn't be that bothered. But it's my family that's more of an issue. It's my missus or my kids. Which, although I do show pictures of Steph, I try not to show pictures of the kids. The youngest one, not so much, because most kids at 1 year old look the same. But like the 5-year-old and above, I don't really want them known. Like I said, Steph can fend for herself. And if you look at me, you'll find Steph anyway. Speaking of the youngest, she's just about to make her way to bed. Do you want to say hello? Do you want to say hello? No, don't touch the microphone. You say night. You say night. No? You say night? No, don't touch the microphone. Night. Love you. Like I said, point, I do what I do because there's a lot of cases, like Sarah Barras and Brendan Machin. The video that's my most viewed, 200,000 views, just about. People didn't know about that case. People in Sheffield don't know about that case. And there was someone that commented on that video saying that we were in prison with Sarah, she was getting on with everyone quite well, and then we found out what she'd done. And it's not so people in prison find out, but when they come out, because our jail terms aren't that long. So when they come out, when they try and integrate it into life, people need to know what these people have done. And alright, sometimes it is an accident, it's manslaughter, forgive and forget, it was a genuine accident. But let's face it, the vast majority of cases we cover aren't like that. Hiding your identity, I have a background in hacking. I don't do anything illegal, never have done anything illegal with regards to hacking, but I can get my way around the network and stuff. Trust me, online, if you're online, if you upload one single picture, whatever else, you can't hide the real you. So it's more of a question of how easy do you want it to make someone that's trying to find you. And I don't know. There's a certain point where the effort stops being useful and you're wasting time trying to hide yourself. My real name is Harley. I don't put my surname out there. I don't want people to know my surname and stuff like that. So I do put a certain effort in to conceal who I am, but not too much. How are we doing in chat, guys? I am trying to read your chat as we go through. But it is hard to read, think, and talk. Especially when I have to concentrate on my talking. Does anyone want to know what I sound like when I actually talk? I don't think I can just turn it back on and off like that. I went to the shop earlier, and when I got back, there were bins everywhere, and I thought, what we're doing? That's how I usually talk, if anyone's wondering. I don't change my voice too much. It's always been a point on this channel that I won't change my voice. Mainly because on YouTube, there's all these people that talk like this. And he went to the shop, and when he got back, the bins were everywhere. And that really annoys me. So I've decided I'm not going to change the way I talk. But I do try and slow it down, dumb it down a little bit. I don't ever want my Yorkshire twang to disappear. Is it your turn to talk yet? I would say we're 15 minutes in, that's good, but I think first 7 minutes were the stream. And I do vape as well, so you'll have to apologise for the odd puff. Right, so shall we do a question bit or do you want to do a story bit? What do you guys want? I have only got one story. I wanted 2 or 3, but I didn't have time. That's my only excuse. Is this your posh voice? Yeah, this is what I talk about on phone. And it's same on an email, you know. People say they've got your phone voice. I do same on email. All the big words come out when I do email. So yeah, that is my posh voice. This is my posh voice. Your voice is what makes your channel stand apart. Cheers. Thanks. I would like to keep a broad accent, but to try and make it a way that people can understand. The problem is, even around Yorkshire, people can't understand what I say. My dad always used to say I speak in broadband, meaning I speak fast. I do everything fast. I eat fast. Stop it. But I do everything fast. I like efficiency. Like I said, I like to be busy. If I'm sat at a table for more than 10 minutes, I get really bored. Northern Ireland, couldn't change my accent. Do you know, I once sat in my local pub in Yorkshire, and someone said, oh, so, how long you been here from Ireland then? Beg your pardon? You're from Ireland, aren't you? No. Oh, sorry, where are you from? About half a mile that way. So, but it happened a few times. Someone said, you thought I was from Newcastle? No. I'm from right here. Now, Fact is asking about the squirrels. I grow my own veg. More for the kids, but we grow our own veg. And the other year we had some amazing veg grown, but all my radishes got stolen by a squirrel. So when Faxet or Liz talks about the squirrels, that's what they're on about. It was a massive running thing on 3 Men in the Vape Show. See, everyone talk about their accents, and I wish I could like join you all to the chat so you could all talk in your accent. Do you have a weird thing is as well? I used to do event security, so I went all over country. And you'd think that would make me good at understanding accents. But I do just stand there like, yeah. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Shmubi Cakes has gifted you all 5 memberships, YouTube memberships, because she's amazing. This is the second time she's done it, by the way. She did it on Sunday as well. So if you want a free membership gifted by Shmubi Cakes, all you have to do is click that little banner thing that's now in chat. And it might ask you to turn on gifting. Just tick the box and then click on it again and it should allow you to accept the gift. Thank you, Schmooby Cakes. I don't sound too Yorkshire, but I could do a great Barnsley accent. You alright, cocker? Will I get demonetised for saying cocker? You alright, cocker? Did you enjoy event security? I did. Do you know, I started as a steward. I did 1 season as a steward while I was waiting for my licence to come through. Because in the UK you have to have licensing, mainly because of all the dodgy stuff that was going on before the licensing. But I did event security and I was a supervisor within like the first year. And that was because I actually cared. I put effort into making sure people were okay, making sure people had a good time. And because I cared, and that means I did a good job at it. And I really did enjoy it. I saw some really good things. A lot of people do event security to see the things. To see Download Festival, Leeds Festival, whatever. But I never did. But at your shifts work, you always end up getting to see something. So I've seen everyone from Metallica to Slipknot to Slash. I've seen Eminem. I've seen everyone, thanks for doing event security. And it was all just pure luck, really. So yeah. Nicely, Kaz saying thank you. Guys, if you have accepted a free membership, don't forget to thank you to Schmooby Cakes. She's doing it out of the love of her heart because she's awesome like that. Thank you, Weather Wind Blows. Very much appreciated. That's so... Let's not do that ever again. Ever. Right, so a lot of people were saying story time. So if I have missed a question, feel free to re-ask it at some point. Now, I'm going to carry on talking because I've just realised I restarted my computer and lost the story. And the thing is, right, I can... Thank you, Steph. The thing is, I can tell you the story off my brain, but I'll miss out a lot of the details, and then it'll all go downhill. Another 5 memberships. Thank you, Esparrow. You guys are so awesome. Look at you. You're just amazing, and I love you all so much. So while I just load up this transcript, if you've ever noticed in the videos, I'll quite often put the transcript, a quote on the screen, and I'll quite often differentiate from what it actually says on that. And that's because I'm really rubbish at transcripts. I'll write it, but then I won't really read it. Pardon me. I won't really read it. So that's why if there's any difference there, it's generally from mind, but I do let my transcript trip me up. Right. So, are we all ready for the story? I'm telling you, this is one of my favourite stories ever, which is really horrible to say because it is a true story and it involves 100 people dying. So it's really, really bad for me to say it's my favourite story. And it has got an element, I would say funny, but it's not funny. It's something that would happen in my life. This is how my life works, of how unlucky this were. So, you'll have to bear with me if I'm looking down at my notes a lot. I'll try and look at the camera. But here we go. And it's not a very unknown story, so some of you might have known it. I just wanted to put something in here to pull the show together. Basically, if we know what else to say, we've got a story. So I'm going to put the story out, take us to 1:30, then we can just have half an hour chills and me sat reading chat and not saying no. Right, here we go. First ever live story. So nervous. Eastern Airlines Flight 401. It was a regular scheduled flight from John F. Kennedy International Airport in Queens, New York. And it flew to Miami International Airport in Miami, Florida. On December 1972, the Flight 401 was using a Lockheed L-1011. It's a plane, type of plane, but it's a Lockheed L-1011 TriStar. This plane that they were using was brand new. It had only been delivered to the airline 4 months earlier on August the 18th. Not only was it new, but it was huge. It had a capacity of over 400 people. It was like the thing to beat type thing. It had 2 floors, 2 levels, so all the passengers were on top. Downstairs, it had staff rooms, it had a full kitchen, so cookers and fridges and all that. And it was only connected to the top floor by 2 very small claustrophobic elevators. Now, the pilot captain in command of this aircraft on Flight 401 on this specific day was Robert Albin Loft. He was a 55-year-old veteran pilot ranked 50th in his centenary at Eastern Airlines. Captain Croft had been with the airline for 32 years and had accumulated a total of 29,700 flight hours during his flight career, which is stupidly high. I don't think it's like a world record, but it is ridiculously high up there. It's really respectable. Of them many hours, 280 of them hours were flying L-1011. I don't know if it was the same one, but he had flown this aircraft quite a bit before. This guy, Captain Loft, he was known to be really confident. He was a bit of a perfectionist. He was really chilled out in tough situations and working under pressure. He was a good guy to rely on as a pilot. If you ever had trouble, you wanted him to be a pilot during them troubles. His flight crew included 39-year-old First Officer Albert John Stockstill. By the way, I just want to put in here, I can't see chat while I'm doing this bit, so I am really sorry for ignoring you if you're saying anything. First Officer Stockstill had 5,800 flying experience hours. 306 of them was with the L-1011. There was also the 51-year-old flight engineer Don Louis Repo. He was 51-year-old, as I said. He'd got 15,700 hours of flying experience, and 53 of them was with the L-1011. So you've got a really great crew here. They're all really experienced, especially the lead captain. So in the front of the plane, you've got the Captain Loft, the main pilot, on the left-hand side. On his right-hand side next to him, you've got the Stockstill captain. And then just behind him in the cockpit, because usually cockpits only have 2 seats. But let's not forget, this is the L-1110. It's a really prestigious plane. It's got 4 seats in the cockpit. So you've got these two in the front. Then behind the co-pilot, on the right-hand side, second row, you've got the engineer, Don Repo. But there was another man in the cockpit on this day. This other man weren't part of the flying crew. He weren't part of the captain crew. He was just somebody that worked for the company and needed to get to Miami to do some work. So the company just put him in that seat and said, get on your way. So with all 176 people boarded on the L-1011, all the pre-checks had been done. And he departed from JFK Airport in New York on Friday the 29th of December 1972. And it was at 9:20 at night, local time. Now, of these 176 people, 13 were crew members and 176 people, 163 passengers and 13 crew members. Now, the flight's going really well. It sets off, we're at an H, everything's going just fine. And just over 2 hours into the flight, they're approaching Miami. So the radio through, it's now 32 minutes past 11, 28 minutes to 12. We're approaching Miami International Airport, and then Captain Loft decides to put down the landing gear in preparation, but he notices, it weren't him in fact, it was Stockstill, his co-pilot. He notices that the landing gear light hadn't come on. Now, on this plane, there is 3 sets of wheels, 3 sets of landing gear. There's one under the right wing, there's one under the left wing, and there's one at the nose of the plane. As he's putting these down, 2 of the lights came on, but the nose light didn't. So they've got no indication whether the landing gear's down or not, whether it's stuck up, whether it's not locked in position. They don't know. But from all the flying experience and knowing that this plane's brand new, they've got a fairly good idea and they're fairly confident that the landing gear's okay. It's just the light inside the bulb itself, that's not working. But let's face it, they've got 176 lives in their hand. They've got a brand new plane that's really expensive. They're not just going to risk it. So they radio through to Miami traffic control and they inform them. And they basically say, right, we know you might think it's your light, but what you need to do is you need to fly over to the Florida Everglades. And when you fly over there, you get to the wetlands, fly around a bit, see what the problem is, try and fix it. So they get over there, they're flying around, they set the plane to fly at autopilot at 2,000 feet, I think it were, and 200 mile an hour. So it's just going to fly around in like a big oval circle type thing. And they're going to try and fix the issue. Now, the first thing they do is they try and get the button out. They want to see the light. They want to try and blow the dust off the connections or something and put it back in. So they try and wiggle about with it and whatever else. They pull it out, blow it off, put it back in. But they put it back in the wrong way. So now not only is it still not working, it's jammed and they can't get it back out. It's not going to work again unless they can get it out and put it in the right position. So they're now even more frustrated. So Captain Loft, the main pilot, turns around to the engineer and he says, right, I need you to go down the hellhole and check. Now the hellhole in a cockpit is a hole in the floor. It's a trapdoor. You go down there, back takes you beneath the cockpit, and there's a little window and you can see the nose landing gear. I want you to go down there and check it out. So it's like, yeah, all right, I'll do that. So off it goes. Now, what you need to remember is, where am I on my story? I think I've missed some notes. So what you need to remember here is there's two main issues. They're busy fixated on this light. They're trying their best to fix the light. They're really noisy because of the aircraft. They're talking. And the other issue is it's really, really dark outside. They can't see anything. They may as well have their eyes shut. There's no lights below. There's no moon out on this particular night. It's complete blackness. They can't see what's happening. So with that in mind, the three men still left in the cockpit. They're still trying to look at this button. And all this time, without them knowing, the plane is slowly descending down to the ground. Now, flight 401 is set to autopilot at 2,000 feet. However, the steering wheel, and I think this is a ridiculously stupid design, the steering wheel, when you touch it, when you steer it, it takes off autopilot. And that's exactly what Captain Loft had done by accident. When he turned around to tell the engineer to go down to the hellhole, it accidentally touched the steering wheel, knocked its autopilot off, and that was enough to make it go down on a slow and steady decline. Like I said, they can't see outside, they can't see that it's going down. Because it's such a gradual decline, they can't feel that it's going down or anything else. Where am I? See, my brain then thought I was recording, so I thought I could stop for a second. Now, there is an alarm in the cockpit that's going to be going off. It's going to be telling them that, well, you've reached a dangerous altitude, what do you think you're doing? But like I said, they're fixated, there's all this noise, and apparently these alarms aren't all that loud. So they didn't hear this alarm. And they're super focused on this bulb. Now, at some point, this plane does hit the ground. It just hits the ground. With no warning, absolutely nobody knew what was going to happen. This plane hits the ground and explodes. Out of all 176 passengers, there were 101 fatalities. 3 of the 4 cockpit members were killed, 2 of the 10 flight attendants were killed, and 96 of the 163 passengers were killed. Meaning out of all 176 passengers or people on board, only 75 survived. Now, the thing is about that story is it does turn out that it was indeed the indicator light to set the landing gears down that wasn't working. Obviously, when the plane crashes, they have to find out what's up with it. They investigated, and it was actually the bulb. So they could have gone in, they could have risked it, and they'd have landed perfectly fine because all the landing gear were okay. The strangest thing about this as well is there was actually 2 people in the Everglades that saw the explosion, and they went over to see what this explosion were, and they were obviously the first people to arrive at the scene. Now, this, incredibly in my mind, this plane was obviously brand new. So they got all the bits out of the plane that they could still reuse, bits of the engine and stuff like that, and put them into new planes or other planes. I think they used them as like spare parts for when they broke down or whatever. And there is actually a lot of ghost stories from planes where the spare parts have been to. The passengers or the staff didn't know that these spare parts had come from that plane, but there were still coincidentally these massive stories of these ghosts that had been seen on these aircrafts, and nobody knew. So there you go, that's your first story. What I will do is, because I was too busy trying to get it right, so that was apparently the flight attendants on Flight 401. That, if you see here, where this white circle is, there's 2 green buttons. Now they lit up to tell you that the landing gear's down. The middle one's not lit, and that would have been the one that wasn't working on their flight. This is apparently a picture of the rubble from the crash. And that was a promo picture of the Lockheed, or one of the Lockheeds. It obviously wasn't the only plane. So, and back to me. How was that? Did that go alright? I'm glad I got through that bit. Now I'm gutted that I ain't got another story for you. I did try and look up some strangest ways people have died. But, ayo. I did just get back in time to see the comment from Nicola. I love chatting with all the names on my hoodie. Isn't that so cool? That we are this family element. And I hate saying that because I think it's so overused. But that's what it is. We literally got each of his names on his backs. How cool is that? I don't know if anyone in chat's done it yet, but you have got custom emojis if you are a member. I spent time making them emojis. God damn it, use them. I was joking. You don't have to use them, but it'd be nice if you did. Just saying. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I also don't know why I'm red. I don't know why I'm red. It's not me. It is my camera and the lighting. I promise you. Yes, please. But I don't know. So has anybody got any more questions? I would say, has anyone got a story they want to tell, but I don't know how that would work. We'd all have to sit keenly reading the chat. There you go. Smoothie Kate's got my emojis out. April Watts. That's not mine. My morning consists of a cup of coffee with all I'm saying mug. See, only 3 people have got one of them, Faxy boy. Oh, look at my cute emojis. See, a lot more of you can do it now because of Schmoobe. That's the wrong drink. It ain't got any alcohol in it. I have literally nowhere to go now. But that is everything that I prepared. So if you have any questions, then feel free. I'm at a loss. And I'm not going to do what I did before. I once tried to read up stories while I did a video. Not on this channel. I think it might have been the 52-hour live I did. I did a 52-hour live for charity. And that's really hard to plan. Especially because I only decided to do it a week before I did it. And someone needs to think of some questions. Or I'm going to go really deep into my personal life. And nobody wants to do that. Limerick that I made up about Paltrow trial. A limerick? What's a limerick? See, I act smart, but I'm not. Possibly, Faxer. Why are you great? Well, I don't know, I'm not. See, this is the thing, I really do have self-doubt and imposter syndrome. So the fact that, see, I've got 11,000 subscribers. 26 people are viewing, and I'm still sat thinking, what did I do to deserve that? If there's another live, I'll bring Jack. See, there's a trick. I've got my Jack, but I drink Jack Daniel's honey far faster. That's why that's still in the freezer. Because I didn't trust myself to drink Jack Daniel's honey while I'm live. Have you thought about doing merch? Right, so this is the thing. And it goes with the... It was an American case about incest. And somebody said, if you're going to profiteer out of this poor girl story, at least get a name right. Or pronounce a name right. And that came really harsh. And I thought, well, that's not very fair. Not only have I got an accent, but I'm also from a completely different country. So I did comment back saying at least I got spelt a name right. A lot of the newspaper articles that I read didn't even manage that. I don't know if I commented or not saying, because at the time I think I'd made like £10 out of YouTube. How will I'm not really profiteering, am I? But yeah, so back to the merch. I don't like to profiteer off it. So I did the mugs giveaway at Christmas. Mugs, air fresheners and bags. I've done the hoodies, but I didn't want to. That generally were because of your pressure. And I think there will be at some point. I'm currently looking at the website. I purchased a website a while ago to put the written down cases onto the website. So that's probably a place that merch will end up at some point. But I don't want to focus on that. I want that to just come naturally. And when I do it, if I do send merch out, I want it to be personal. With all the hoodies, I sent out a little handwritten letter. With the merch, I advertised it as just the logo, but I actually wrote a piece to each person and then had it printed onto the mugs and on the bag. So it was like a nice little handwritten letter on that. So I like it to be personal. If you do it, if you just sell mugs or whatever, you lose that personal touch. And I do like this me and you together being personal. There was another question. I did see it. How do I de-stress after an hard case? I don't. And this is why I'm going around bend. I don't talk about my mental health. Oof. I don't talk about mental health a lot because, again, I don't like to focus on it and I don't want to be one of these people that's seen as waving a banner. But I do struggle with mental health. So there's cases like after the Andrew Innes case, for example. I feel very numb after it and I don't want to think very much, which is a nightmare for me because my brain's wild. But yeah, it is hard. And I think, I don't know, you just crack on with next case. Try and find one that's not as graphic and try and focus on that instead. But there's some cases that are harder than others. Some cases are just, he walked up to her and stabbed her and that were it. But I think the Andrew Innes one, because of the topic it surrounded, made it a lot harder to cover. It stays in your brain. And again, it's just, I think the way I've always dealt with my mental illness is just not think about it. It'll be okay. We can do it. So I think that's where I try and de-stress from doing that. If I could drink, I'd drink with you, but I have to pick up my kids from school in an hour or so. I wish my kids were still at school. Now they're in bed. They're nice in bed because they're nice and quiet. Listen, I couldn't have done this an hour ago. I'm telling you, it was crazy. Thank you, Brenda. There once was a man who could ski. He got distracted by the famous Gwynny. He tried to impress, but made quite a mess because his ego was out of his tree. Well done, Patricia. Written a lot better than spoken by me, obviously. Jackie Connor, no, that's not fair at all. You are brilliant. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Oh, I don't let other people tell me I'm different. If other people tell me I'm rubbish, it kind of bounces off. It's all inside that he could all tell me wrong. Female Teespring or Asian sizes. Do you know if it's the worst thing about clothing, isn't it? You go to one place, you go to another, they're completely different sizes. And then you also have to factor in the shrinking. If you go to Asda at George or you go to... where was the other one that I was thinking about for tees? And they just shrink. My missus bought me 5 of these for Christmas. I'm very plain. And they were nice, they were lovely and soft. After first week, if you all came out, I wash you off size. I was really gutted. Football or rugby fan? Neither, really. I much prefer... I've played both. I played both at school. Voluntary. But I'm not that much into watching it. I can. If someone's got it on, I'll watch it. It's same as boxing. I like to watch boxing, but not at home. If I'm stood in a pub and it's on, I'll be stuck to it. But not really. So they're probably about the same. I did used to do security out stewarding, I can't remember which, at Bramall Lane. I think it was stewarding. Sheffield United's football ground. So I used to watch that. And if I ever had a team I supported, as when I was growing up, it were Sheffield United. Hey Lucy from Somerset. That's where I went on holiday last year. To Avon, Somerset. Nice bit of information for you all there. I consume true crime 24/7 really, but I think I'm detached from the reality of it. Sometimes a case catches me off guard though. I think that is true, and I think this is where a lot of people that create true crime content, they don't think about that. And this is why I struggle not to put helpful information at end, because I think it's because I try to find information about the person, but this is the hard thing to do. All I'm saying is, especially with true crime, I try to find information about the perpetrator and the victim, mainly because I want the victim to be remembered and celebrated, and I want the perpetrator to be remembered for what they did, so they can't get away from it. And it's hard to then separate it when you're looking through that sort of stuff. It's also hard to break down if not going past boundaries. There's certain things you don't want to share, and obviously you want to make sure everything you share is in the public domain, so you can't get done for sharing it. Evening, Liz. I did mention you earlier, Liz. I think it's when we were talking about 3 Men in a Vape Show. So have you thought about doing light-hearted subject to break it up? Weird and wonderful kind of things, balance things out. I have, Stacey. That is the entire point of Stranger Than Fiction. And I do like Stranger Than Fiction. I think my favourite video to record was the top 5 ways boobs have been used as a weapon. Top 5 ways boobs have been used as a weapon. Because I had such a good laugh filming that. It might sound really sad because I was stood on my own. But I did have a good laugh. Especially with the third case. Where she thought you were having a really good time. So I do, but that is the entire point of Stranger Than Fiction. And I were doing quite good at that. But I think that's because I was doing cold cases. The end goal is to go back to doing Stranger Than Fiction on a Wednesday, True Crime on a Sunday. And that will help a lot because Stranger Than Fiction is easier to write as well. And you don't have to get as many details correct. If there's a little bit of information that's not correct about a woman that nearly killed someone with her boobs, it doesn't really matter. But if it's someone that's in prison for doing something, you really need to be getting that information right. What month is your birthday? I'll tell you. It is in the last quarter of the year. It's September. Don't ask for the day because I'm not telling any of you, especially not on a live stream. Blades then, yes, Schmooby Cakes. It would be Blades. You, Ollie, we are a traitor to your hometown. What? Why? I'm from Sheffield. Why would supporting Sheffield United be a traitor to my hometown? Do you watch other YouTubers like that chapter? See, this is the thing, Lucy. Yeah and no. My missus watches a lot. I watch a lot with her. If there's a case that comes up, I watch it. But I try not to watch too much. I think, especially now I've started, I watch more before I started than I do now. And I try to watch others out of support, like dark case documentaries. But the problem is, I find if I do that, I'm looking at their view count, I'm looking at their subscribers, and you start getting a bit competitive, you start trying to copy things they're doing, and then you want to do cases they've done. And I also find if there's too many cases in my head, I'll start saying things that aren't right. I think I did a case about Hannah, or I read a case about someone called Hannah, and the next week, every time I talked to anybody, the name Hannah popped into my head. Maybe it was a ghostly thing, maybe someone was trying to tell me to cover that case, I don't know. All I know is it was constant. So when I was editing the video the week after, I kept saying Hannah. I can't remember which case it were, but instead of saying that person, I'd say Hannah. So that person was walking to the shop, Hannah was walking to the shop. And luckily, I think I corrected it every single time. So I do watch some ones that I've watched that I like. I like Cecilia Bailey, mainly for her intro. I know she's very controversial because she does makeup and stuff as well. But each to your own. I just like her intro. What's her name? She used to be a convict. That sounds so disrespectful. Kendall Ray? Christina Ray? Christina Ray? Christina Randall, I think. Yeah, anyway, I like her. She brings a lot of personality to it. So I do watch them. Not as much as I used to, though. Death by boobs. Let's not get started. I love that you cover more obscure cases, and I love your quiz questions. They are sometimes really hard. See, I said this in the quiz question comments a lot. It is quite hard to do them because, first of all, you have to get a fact about somebody that nobody knows or not as many people are going to know. And then you have to find out the relevant information for the others. Now, it could be quite simple, like Ted Bundy's eye, everybody could know. But then trying to find 4 other serial killers that have all got a very similar height, and then checking the fact that this source says that it's this height, is that true? Because when I was doing that one, for example, about heights, I'd look in 2 different sources, and they'd both have different heights for the same person. So that was really hard. Bye, April! If you're still here. If not, I'm really sorry I missed you. So the quizzes are really hard. So I'm glad that so many of you do like them. Schmooby Cakes is a sweetheart, and she's gifted memberships again. So if anybody hasn't got a membership and you want one, find that box in chat that says gifted memberships. Click on it. It might ask you to accept memberships, gifts. Click the toggle. Then you can go back on, click the box, and accept the gifted membership. Thank you, Schmooby. Emma Kennett. See, I don't think I've watched many. I don't think I've watched many of Emma. I don't think I've watched many of Emma Kennett. Don't think I've watched many of Emma Kennett. Many of Emma Kennett is quite a word tongue twister. But no, I don't think I've watched many of Emma's. I've seen bits. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think I've ever watched a full one. To be honest, I don't know why. I just hasn't. But that's 2 people vouching for her, so I will have to now check her out a bit deeper. Love the fact that you're so honest, and I also think that you should do a real ghost. You should do real ghost things. Are you guys into the ghost things? Because it always seems like you're not. Now, the interesting, I am 100% skeptic. My missus is a 100% believer. So we've done ghost hunts. We've been on most haunted ghost hunt things. I think they call it most haunted experience. I've been on them. We've been to Matlock Bath, and we've been to several places. Now, when I did the 52-hour live charity stream, I did a spirit box every night because my viewer, pretty much all of my subscribers were in the UK. So I thought during the night there's not going to be anyone around. So what I'll do is I'll do something that's just going to keep me awake, just keep me on the stream. So I thought I'll just do a ghost box. Now, this is 52-hour live. I think it started like 10 a.m. So at 5 a.m. on the 3rd day, I swear to God, I was falling asleep, and I was sat back. I've got the video on my phone still, and I said, if you know, if there's anybody here, say something. And then I heard my name. He said, Harley. Whoa! I'm awake. Right, who is it? And then I swear to God, it says Nan. Now, this was like 5 months after my nan had died, and we're closer to my nan than anyone else. And it went on for a little bit more, but it did seem to give genuine answers. Now, I'm like 48 hours deprived, 45 hours deprived of sleep here. So, I could have been hearing things, but I've listened to the recordings again, and I can still hear it. Maybe it's pareidolia, I don't know. But I am a massive skeptic about stuff, especially the stuff you see on YouTube. I'd love to do that type of thing. I'd also love to do urbexing, the urban exploring. We watch Finders Bleepers every week. They're from Sheffield, and I love them. And I've actually been meaning to reach out and say, guys, can I come and do a video with you? Not to post on my channel. I just want to go around with them and be in their video. I think that'd be wicked. I'll send you some questions as I have every murder case book. Thank you, Patricia. I don't care what you put up. See, some of you are just so supportive. Far too supportive. It's dangerous. Sherry, that'd be getting court documents from historic. You'd have to contact the court and ask you for archived anyway, I'd imagine. Ex-Scientology stuff and cults. It's an interesting thing, that topic. That is very interesting. The interesting thing about doing this is you tell people that you do true crime. I do YouTube. Oh, what do you do on YouTube? I tell stories. What kind of stories? Usually true crime. Oh, did you know? And then they tell you something, and you're like, wow, I never knew that about you. Now, there's a good friend I've got that recently opened up and told me about them. And it blew my mind. I really I could have never expected that things like that happen to them. There is also a book. It's a bestseller. It's been a bestseller like 5 times, called A Boy in the Cellar, about Stephen Smith. It's written by Stephen Smith, and he was abused by his parents. He was locked in the cellar, chained in the cellar, abused, and then he ended up at, I can't remember what children's home it were, where there were mass abuse and scandal going on there for experimenting on children and stuff. But that boy is called A Boy in the Cellar, or The Boy in the Cellar. And I know him very well. He's a good friend. And it is really, if you're into that kind of book, it is a very, very good book, apparently. And like I say, it has been bestseller quite a few times. Review there blows my mind how people can be programmed in cults, etc. The mind is a very, very delicate thing. It's very scary. See, the thing, there was some, I can't remember what case it was that I covered. I wanted to get the entire court transcript, and they wanted something like £35 an hour, but it was like a 3-week-long trial. I'm like, can't quite afford that. There's true crime stuff that happens to have ghosts. Did you know there was once a woman that claimed to be raped by Michael Jackson? And I'm sure she said she was pregnant with his children as well. She was trying to sue the Michael Jackson estate because Michael Jackson's ghost allegedly raped her. You know? Not like that's ever happened to me. Not saying that I want it to. Move on, guys. Move on. I'm the biggest skeptic, and I think it's poop. See, when we went to the one at Matlock Bath, they were all like, oh, look at it, it's flashing. And I'm like, shut up. Right now, look at it. I mean, shut up. Talking nonsense. Harley, will you ever do any more of those drone vids? See, now I will. They will go back up on the other channel. But it's where to go, where to film, and when the weather's nice, because obviously it can't be windy and it can't be raining. So the drone vids will go back up on the other channel if YouTube hadn't banned it by now. Might have, I don't know. What flavours in the tank? I'm actually sub-ohming on a rebuildable Peachy Promise from Got Salts, 10mg. I'm not going to go into that, but that's what I'm on, Peachy Promise, 10mg. It's lovely. Lovely. Yeah, I drop in onto a tank. How ridiculous. I made a new game out of a game. Who is it? I changed all the faces on the face of serial killers and gave them my own. I give them my grown up kids. They think I'm weird. That sounds like a good idea, Patricia. Do they sell them? That would be a good idea, because they sell like serial killer top trumps, don't they? I think you were the coolest mom, Patricia. Is this the one from GMTV? I don't know. I saw it on a news article a couple of years ago. But yeah, Michael Jackson. Now we can't move on. Spilt it. Harley, which ghost do you want to do? I don't know. I'm not even going. I started thinking about that then. I started thinking which ghost would I want to take me while I was asleep. But I'm not going to think about that because that's a weird thing to be thinking about. But thank you, Liz. Was her name Billie Jean? Oh dear, Patricia. There's a case in the 1870s, West Virginia, where the man was convicted of murder using ghost testimony. See, there's a lot of people in America that do that, where someone's gone missing and they'll use a spirit box to go and find the person that did it, find the body and find the person that did it. And I think that's very interesting. But the thing is about most ghost hunters, right, is that, right, if you're here, do something. We have come to talk to you, do something. Quick, run! What? I bet that's the reason ghosts don't react, because every time we do react, you all run away. Stop it. Richard and Judah are holding their giggles. Bed. You want to talk to your mum? So yeah, we're rounding it up. We've got like 2 minutes left. I promised my missus I wouldn't be on for more than an hour. She didn't have to shut the door, did she? So that's it. We're rounding it up. I do wish I'd got another story to tell you, or a joke, or something to finish it on. I have got an end screen to pay homage to all my subscribers and all my members. No, my members and my Patreons. Subscribers, I love you, but I can't put 11,000 here at the end of the video. So, has anyone got any last questions or anything else? It has been an absolute delight spending my Friday, I'd say evening, but an hour of my evening. It has been an honour. Spirit Box Band. Busted, that's a band. I grew up with 2 victims of 2 different serial killers. For real. See, what does interest me, I love statistics. But what does interest me is when you look at statistics of how many serial killers there is. Well, there's this many serial killers out there. Is there though, or are you just really shit at solving murder cases, so you just play it off as, oh, they're all done by the same person who's super smart? Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I do love you all. I really do. You told us about Michael Jackson Ghost Lady. But that's what I go to school for. Thanks, Rob. It's going to be made all night now. Much appreciated. Yeah, we should do it again, Shmoob. I don't know when, but we should. I have also been thinking of doing one for members, but then I think, oh yeah, but then everyone else will miss out. See, these are the problems that I have in my life, and they really are problems. Nice chat with you all. In USA, 26 to 50 every day. It's ridiculous. When's the next stream? Oh, I'm going to end up giving into pressure here, aren't I? So there you go. If you are watching on replay, thank you very much for watching. It's a shame you weren't here for live, because it were great fun. But internationally, I know that the times don't suit. For me, it's Friday night. I'm now going to kick back and chill out and go. See, that actually felt really good. But it has just been really nice to just chill out with you all. And actually be able to interact with you rather than just type a comment back to you. Well, the interesting thing about doing videos is I always end up putting tips in on how to get away with murder. And then think, oh, I have to remove that. Now, I'm not expert. I've never got away with murder. Not yet, anyway. I've never killed anybody. I don't plan to kill anybody. But, like, for example, the Shea Groves. A news article said that she was obsessed with them in order to find out how she could get away with killing. And I actually recorded for the video of, if that were a plan, she really ought to have not been taking tips off people that were in prison or that got caught. And then I thought, well, no, I don't want to give people tips on how not to get caught. But seriously, guys, if you ever want to learn to do something, don't learn from people that did it wrong. Don't kill people. Don't do any harm. I didn't mean it like that. Don't kill anybody. I mean, like doing DIY. Don't take it. You know what I meant. Don't try and put words in my mouth. That's it. I think we're done. We're 1 minute over. I'm going to get right told off. I won't. She loves me, I think. And I'm just rambling now. So it has been delightful. We shall possibly one day, maybe when we get to 1 million subscribers. Pardon me. I'm joking. I don't actually expect to get that high. But we will possibly do this one day again. It's only March, so probably this year. Thank you all. You are absolutely amazing. Sorry, I'm just loving seeing all the comments. It's really nice. Such a softie. But yeah, it has been great. You are all appreciated. All the members, all the Patreons, and all the subscribers. If you're not a member of Patreon, don't think that I don't love you, because I do. I really do. And thank you, everybody, for your love and support. See, I don't want to say goodbye. That's why I'm lingering on. It's not awkward. I just don't want to say goodbye. Donze! Have you only just come? You came too late, Donze. Donze is the dudess of Yorkshire. We had a conversation about dude. She called me dude. And I was like, hey, did you know dude were actually originally dud as a feminine? And then it went on. I've got to go, guys, because if not, I will be sat here for an hour doing this exact thing. And you're going to keep commenting, so it's going to keep encouraging me. So I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to like count down from 5 in my head and then press goodbye. Thank you all for your super thanks tonight. Thank you. Massive thanks to Schmoobert for making sure the chat ran so smoothly. And a massive thank you to Schmoobert from everybody that accepted a gift and from me. So thank you. Well, I'm glad you've been here all the time, Donza. I felt really bad if you missed it. We've had to do another hour. Right, for the millionth and last time, thank you all so very much for your support. And thank you for coming tonight. I did expect to be on my own. So thank you. I will see you Sunday. The video is up and scheduled already. Sunday, 10 o'clock London time. See you then. Stay safe, guys.